Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Narad Muni is saying, Yataihi kamushmika kamalampata Suteshu dareshu dhaneshu chintayan Shanketa vidvan kukalevaratyaya Yastasya yatnaha shrama eva kevalam. 5:19-14. Materialists are generally very attached to their present bodily comforts and to the bodily comforts they expect in the future. Therefore, they are always absorbed in thoughts of their wives, children, and wealth, and are afraid of giving up their bodies, which are full of stool and urine. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is also afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of his having labored to study the Shastras? It was simply a waste of time. There are two parts to this verse. One part addresses the materialists, other part is for devotees, or to be more precise, sadhakas, practicing devotees. See, the symptom of a materialist has to be understood clearly from Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami, he is very strongly speaking about the materialists. Please repeat, nice shloka. Nidrayaryate naktam Vyavayena cha vavayah Divacharthe haya rajan Kutumba bharanena va. So what does a materialist do? He does only two activities. What are the two activities? Daytime, he's busy. He's busy working like a donkey to earn money, to maintain his family. That's the only goal. And people say also, क्यों काम कर रहे हो आप? पापी पेट का सवाल है. They say that. They know that pet is papi. Not just they, all the other papis are also there. So he has to take care of all of them. So he has to earn. So this is the first thing that they do in the morning, daytime. Work very hard, very hard. And what do they do at night time? So, nidraya riyate naktam yavayena chavavayah. At night, either they'll sleep, they're so tired, they'll foam while sleeping also, and have sex. So these are two activities that they do at night. So daytime they work like donkey, very, very hard, and at night time, again animalistic activity of sleeping for long, long hours. People sleep for 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. And we struggle to get some sleep. People sleep for so long. And they want to have sex. There is no rules for sex. Just have sex for one's own sense enjoyment without thinking is it sin or no. So this is the first thing that Shukadeva Goswami says. And then he says, what is their strength? What do they depend upon in their life? Please repeat. Deha patyakalatra Atma Sainyeshva Satsvapi Tesham Pramattu Nidhanam Pashyannapi na pashyati. They're so busy in their activities, everyday activities. They're not able to see their own destruction. With time they're going to get destroyed. They're not seeing their destruction. And whom are they depending on for help? Here it is said, the ones, they are these materialists. They are always dependent on their own deha, their own body. Apatya, friends and relatives. Or you can also, here specifically it is mentioned about children and wife. So they are dependent on these soldiers, like body, wife, children. Why they are called as soldiers here? And that too fallible soldiers. Atma Sainyeshu Asatswapi. The ones who don't have Atma Gyan, Atma Tattva Gyan. So they are the ones who are dependent on such Sainik, such soldiers. Why they are called as soldiers? Because he expects that these people will protect me. He expects that they are my support. But unfortunately, he does not realize that with time, I am going to leave this body, and with time, they are also going to leave that body, whichever the body they are in. Therefore, a materialist is very much attached, his family members. Therefore, when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj that what is the best thing that you have learned from your teachers, the first thing that he says is this: Tatsadu manye suravarya dehina sada samudvigna dhyam asadgrahat hitvatmapatam grahamandakopam vanam gato yadharimashrayeta. Here specifically he is saying, specifically addressing his father, who is a materialist. And he's talking about what is this life of a materialist. And he compares the life of materialist to graham anda kopam, blind well. That's a very nice analogy to meditate and to contemplate. Why blind well? Why is a materialistic person's life called as blind well? Because anyone who falls in the blind well, dark well, he'll not come out of it. He'll die. He'll die in that. In the commentaries, our acharyas say that sometimes these wells are covered, dry wells. They are covered with some grass or some creepers. And animals, they are not able to make out that there is a well. So they walk on it and they fall in it. And they keep crying and crying and crying and they die. They cannot come out. So a person who gets stuck in this materialistic way of life, not understanding the truth of life, so that person will be stuck forever. And on and on and on. He'll just go on. He's suffering. He's suffering. He's crying also. But then he cannot come out of it. He does not know the way to come out of it. And therefore, finally what happens is he'll die. How he'll die? He'll die remembering his all family members. That's how he'll die. And what will be his next destination? Next destination will be again another material life full of sufferings. This is the condition of a materialist. And even while living, it's not that he's very happy. Even while living, he has got so many insecurities. So many. So say on the gross platform, he always keeps thinking about, I have to earn nicely to take care of my family. What will happen to my family if I am not there? My kid is so small. Without me, he cannot grow. My wife needs me. What will happen to my property? What will happen to this body? I should keep it very healthy. I should do this. I should do that. I should do nice makeup. I should have nice biceps and triceps or whatever. Insecurity. Insecurity of losing things. He wants to pack up things and keep it with himself. On psychological platform, the person thinks about no one should take away my position. Ye mera position. This is my status. I should retain the status. So they have that insecurity of losing the status, losing the position. Emotionally, people think that what if I lose everything in my life, all the material things, people will stop loving me. So I lose the love. So that is another anxiety that they have. There are many anxieties that we can go on listing one after another. But then one thing is very clear. The person is full of anxiety throughout his life. So much of insecurity, of losing things. Fear of unknown. Normally people say this. They have everything but fear of unknown. I remember speaking to some CFO. Everything was good. I could see that he's very wealthy, very opulent. He has a nice family. But then the question that he asked me was, obviously in private, he was asking me that every moment I'm fearful. How to overcome that fear? Every moment I'm fearful. And what is the fear all about? I don't know. Fear of unknown. But Bhagavatam makes it very clear. What is that fear all about? The fear of unknown is that insecurity. What is that insecurity all about? Losing things. That which I'm attached to, if I lose, what will happen? That fear. That fear. Therefore, in the material world, when people are attached to material things, and that attachment is very, very strong, they're always very fearful of losing that particular thing. And that fear will always keep them in anxiety. That's the most unfortunate thing. Now, see, when a materialist comes in touch with a devotee and he starts practicing bhakti, so when he starts practicing bhakti, he's called a Sādhaka. He's not yet a devotee. Because devotee is the one who attains higher stages of bhakti. That is bhava and prema. Or to make it more precise, the one who practices Shuddha bhakti. He is called as devotee. Others are all called as sadhakas, practitioners. And if you are practicing bhakti, then you will be called as a bhakti yogi, sadhaka. You are a sadhaka. So as a sadhaka, it is expected if you are practicing bhakti, then some results should be seen. Phalena parichayate. If you are really practicing bhakti, results should be seen. What is that result? What is that expected result when someone is practicing bhakti? Bhagavatam, there are many, many shlokas which talks about it. One famous shloka which we quote often. Bhakti pareshano bhavo virakti anyatra chaisa trika eka kalah prapadyamanasya yathashnata shus tushti pushti shuddha payonughasam. Here it is said that when the person is hungry and when the person is eating, so he himself will be able to experience. He'll be able to see the result. What is that result? Tushti, pushti, shuddha paya. So when he's eating, every morsel when he's eating, so one is tushti, pushti and shuddha paya. So tushti is he feels nourished. Pushti, he feels strong. Shuddha paya, his hunger reduces. If you are eating and if your hunger is increasing, I think there is some problem. It's not that the food is very tasty, there is some problem with you. So with every morsel, these three things will take place. So when a person is practicing bhakti, similarly, there are three things that he should experience. What is that? Bhakti, para isha anubhava and virakti. So bhakti, that is devotion. So naturally, stays for rendering devotional service will go on increasing. The first thing that he should experience, if he is properly practicing Shuddha Bhakti, properly executing the angas of bhakti as it's expected, first thing is he'll develop taste. He'll do bhakti. His bhakti will increase. Bhakti. Para Isha Anubhava, he'll be able to experience the Supreme Lord. Direct experience of Supreme Lord. And the third one is Virakti, detachment. He'll be able to get detached from this material world. So if the person is a sadhaka, he calls himself a sadhaka, and his attachment to this material world is going on increasing, then what sort of sadhaka is? Then he's not doing bhakti for sure. He's not doing bhakti. Another shloka which talks about the result of practicing bhakti. Because someone might ask, maybe ye sabko time lagta hoga. All this that we have discussed now, maybe it might take some time. But Bhagavatam makes it very clear, no, it does not take time. Please repeat. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janyatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yad Brahma Darshanam. The shloka that we know, Jnanam Cha Tad Ahitukam. But here, in third canto, one more element is added. See, Bhagavatam is very consistent. So in one place, it is talking about the same thing. Another place also it is talking the same thing with one more element added. So when someone is practicing bhakti, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah. If someone is practicing bhakti, what is expected? Janyati Ashu. Quickly this has to happen. What has to happen quickly? Janyati Ashu, Vairagyam, detachment. Detachment should be seen. Detachment. Janyati Ashu, Vairagyam, Jnanam, knowledge has to arise. And Brahma Darshanam, specifically mentioned in the shloka that we chanted, is self-realization. The same thing again. Bhakti, Pareshanubhavo, Virakti. So these three things is expected. Now when the person, he says that I'm a sadhaka, Then with time, as he is progressing on the path of bhakti, detachment should be seen. We'll just focus on detachment today. Detachment should be seen. His detachment should go on increasing. It's not that the person says that I'm doing raganuga sadhana bhakti and then he's still attached to his office work. He's still attached to his clothes that he wears, color clothes, and his hairstyle and this and that. And still, he's very attached to attend social functions and all that. And he calls himself Raganuga Sadhana Bhakta. I think there is some problem with his understanding. Whenever some people speak big things, at least the scholars in sadhana, scholars who are there, who have studied Shastra very nicely, first question they ask is, iske sir pe baal kyun hai? Why there are hair on his head? If you are really so detached, first thing is you remove that which makes you look beautiful. Remove that. Remove the colorful clothes that you wear. Live a simple life. Then you speak about Raganuga. Then you speak about various higher aspects of Krishna consciousness. Because when you're speaking about the higher aspects of Krishna consciousness, or when you claim to be on the higher levels of Krishna consciousness, you are expected to display a certain level of detachment. And it will be seen. ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते detachment अंदर है बाहर नहीं. And we cannot give the example of Pundarik Vidyanidhi saying, oh, he was like that, so I am also like that. Yes. But Pundarik Vidyanidhi's attachment to Krishna was seen. As soon as Mukunda Datta, he started singing the glories of Krishna, Pundarik Vidyanidhi was dressed so opulently, who was having servants around all the time, having a good hairstyle also. But as soon as Mukunda Datta, he started glorifying Krishna, Pundarik Vidyanidhi went crazy, rolling on the ground, crying out, calling out to Krishna. Now, I don't think people can do this. Yes. There are some rare examples like that who are exceptions. But we cannot count ourselves in exceptions. Very important point to note. Sadhakas cannot be in exceptions. So the point is, as we are practicing bhakti, we should see detachment in us. We should be able to observe a clear detachment, what we were before and what we are now. And what to talk about those who have taken to the path of renunciation. Just imagine if those in Grihastha ashram, they are expected to show detachment if they are advancing in bhakti. And what to talk about the renunciants? How much renounced, how much detached they have to be from various material attachments of this world. Therefore, as soon as someone sees a renunciant doing sense gratification, they start calling names. What sort of person he is? He's eating so much. He's doing this. He's doing that. Immediately, as soon as they see some costly gadgets with the person, be it a watch, which is that half-eaten Apple watch, yes, or be it some other gadgets, maybe a phone or whatever, people see and they keep blinking their eyes and see, what is this? Renunciant. Means the expectation of outside world is something else. But you know what? Their expectation matches with the expectation of Bhagavatam. That is a nice thing. Their expectation matches with the expectation of Bhagavatam. But then the renunciants are expected to match this expectation. So as we are practicing bhakti and if we call ourselves as sadhakas, then we have to display a certain level of detachment. That is the point. How come great devotees, they are so detached? So very detached. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once, when he was in great ecstasy, he started saying something very wonderful. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Shri Krishna Rupadi Nishevanam Vina Vyarthani me hanya khilendriyanalam Pashana shushken dhana bharakanyaho Bibharmi vatani katham hatatripa. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Shri Krishna Rupadi Nishevanam Vina Vyarthani me ahani. So his point is that I've uselessly served, or he's considering all his senses to be a great burden. He's considering his senses to be a great burden. Why is he considering these senses to be great burden? He is saying that unless I serve the transcendental form, qualities and pastimes of Sri Krishna, all my days and all my senses will just become useless. And therefore, since I am serving these senses uselessly, they are just burden. So these great souls, so here obviously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord himself, but he is playing the role of a pure devotee. So here a pure devotee is considering his senses, his body to be a burden. Now when someone is carrying a burden on the shoulder, he'll not be attached to it. He wants to keep it down so that he gets relieved of that burden. So similarly, pure devotees, they want to get rid of this body or get rid of these blunt senses. So if they want to get rid of this body itself, I mean the blunt senses, then what about being attached to that which is connected to this body? So naturally detached. They are detached from various relations with this body. They are detached with the objects. They are detached from various personalities. Therefore, this point is very important. Why is it that great personalities are so detached? Because they consider this to be a burden. They consider the material existence to be a burden if not engaged in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, now when we call ourselves as sadhakas, and if we still have insecurities in our life, like the materialists have, as we discussed, then how can we call ourselves as sadhakas? Because sadhakas are expected to be detached. See some of the insecurities that we can remind ourselves about. When it comes to old people, I'm talking about sadhakas, chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and they have already hit the ripe age, 60 plus or whatever. And if they say this, that I don't know what will happen to my grandchildren, I have to take care of them, their schooling, and always keep inquiring, what is my grandchild doing? You see the insecurity that these personalities have. You already hit 60, you're already chanting 16 rounds. Is this what is expected? Without us, how this entire house will be Krishna conscious? It's not because of you, it's because of Krishna who is there. It's because of Krishna the house is Krishna conscious, not because of you. Okay, old people, we can discuss a lot. You all can observe yourself and find out. Or maybe we can see in our own selves when we become old. We might have all these different sorts of insecurities. When it comes to people who are married, sadhakas who are married, they have their own level of insecurity. Sometimes people want to earn a lot at the cost of their bhakti. So many people. Instead of focusing on bhakti, they want to invest a lot of time in earning. And their point is, I'll earn so that my life becomes secure, then I can practice bhakti more. This is just a foolish thought and nothing else. We will get what is there in our quota of karma. We will not get more than that. Today morning I was hearing Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was saying that you cannot earn more than what is there in your destiny or in your karma. You cannot earn, not possible. So when someone says that I have to earn a lot so that I can take care of my family and this and that at the cost of practicing bhakti, there is some problem. This is the insecurity. Sometimes they have this insecurity of what will happen to me in old age. Even brahmacharis have sometimes this insecurity. Who will take care of me? Those brahmacharis who are not preachers, at times they have this insecurity that now he is a preacher, he has so many followers, so they will take care of him. But I am not a preacher, I don't have followers, who will take care of me? All these nonsensical thoughts, insecure thoughts will come. And sometimes there's another level of insecurity that I should have good status as compared to that sadhaka. I should be better than that sadhaka. In terms of external position and possessions. Not surely about, say, he's chanting 64 rounds and the person is competing. I'll also chant 64 rounds. I'm not talking about that. If that's the case, that's very nice. But I'm talking on the material platform. And when it comes to preachers and brahmacharis, they've already given up many things. They speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, surely they might have realized many aspects of Krishna consciousness. There'll be certain level of detachment also. But insecurity is seen even in preachers, even in brahmacharis. Like for example, say someone is there in some leadership position and he has that insecure feeling that maybe my subordinate will take over my position. Then what is the difference between a person working like a donkey in corporate world and here a brahmachari or a preacher who is serving as a full-time devotee in Krishna consciousness? If we have such feelings, such insecure feelings. Sometimes some devotees have, some sadhakas, they have insecurity that someone will take over my preaching area. The entire world is there for preaching. But still that insecurity is there. And sometimes related to resources, people are very insecure about resources. What if I lose these resources? And the most important resource is people. They feel that, oh, he's my student, he's my follower. How can he talk to him? How can he talk to them? I've personally handled such cases where one leader is not allowing his member to talk to another leader. So tell me, when intelligent people observe all this happening in those people who are supposed to be role models in the society of spiritualists, what will those intelligent people feel? Will they take up to Krishna consciousness seriously? They'll see, the process does not work. Because the process is very clear. If you're following the process properly, then this element has to be seen. Detachment has to be seen. Detachment has to be seen. Sometimes people ask, if I'm detached, then how will I do my services? We do service with the mood to serve Krishna, please Krishna. Naturally, we'll not have these insecure feelings. Therefore, this question is asked, if you're calling yourself a sadhaka and still you have all these insecurities, then what is the use of practicing bhakti? That's what the shloka also says. Yastasya tatnaha shrama eva kevalam. I think, what is the use? What is the use of practicing bhakti then if you cannot display these basic symptoms of Krishna consciousness? And another very famous shloka from first canto. Please repeat. Dharma swanishtita pumsam Vishwaksena kathasuya Notpadayed yadiratim Shramaiva hi kevalam. Obviously, this talks about occupational duties, varna dharma, ashram dharma. But we can always apply to our practice of devotional service also. If I'm calling myself a sadhaka and if I'm not developing, if I'm not displaying the symptoms of bhakti, and one symptom that is mentioned here is increasing taste in hearing the holy names or increasing the taste to hear the glories of Supreme Lord, if that is not happening, if my taste to hear about the glories of Lord is not increasing, then Shramaiva hi kevalam, it's all useless waste of time. It means somewhere some issue is there which I'm not able to find out. Therefore, such material attachments, if we practice bhakti with such material attachments, to come to the platform of chanting Shuddha Nam is very, very difficult. Why it's very, very difficult? Because it's an offense. The 10th offense. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So this is the 10th offense. Now, if I really want to come to the platform of Shuddha Nam, then I have to avoid this 10th offense. But this 10th offense is all about material attachment. And all these insecurities that is seen in a sadhaka shows very clearly that this person is materially attached. So I have to get rid of the material attachments. So what is this material attachment all about? Harinam Chintamani by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, chapter 14, describes only about this offense. It describes elaborately about this 10th offense. What is it all about? Let's try to understand it in detail. Because as sadhakas, if I really want to see these symptoms of pure devotional service, or at least these basic symptoms of detachment or increase in taste for Krishna consciousness, we have to avoid offenses. And this offense is something that we have to focus on because this is a very deadly offense. Other offenses we might go on avoiding one after another, but then we might get stuck in this because it's about material attachments. And material attachments we have developed from many lifetimes. It's not about this life only, many lifetimes. So what is it all about? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in this chapter. Overcome with prema, Haridas recited the last offense in chanting the holy name. So Haridas Thakur is actually listing down these offenses. He's authority. He's Namacharya, and he can tell us that how we should, firstly, what is the offense and how we should avoid the offense. Listen, this offense is lowest of all. With this offense, one cannot get prema. It is the attitude which is exactly opposite to surrender to the Lord. Having removed the first 9 offenses, the devotee should culture full surrender to the name. According to scripture, there are 6 types of surrender which are impossible to explain in detail. In brief, they are as follows. So this point is very clear, that if I am chanting the holy names and if I am not chanting offenselessly, attaining prema is just a dream, not possible. Coming to the platform of Shuddha Nam, very, very difficult. Therefore, it is said, Niraprad Nam Lay Pai Prema Dhan. So, only thing that we have to do is chant offenselessly and we'll be able to attain Krishna Prema. So, here specifically, the 6 angas of surrender is mentioned. Shadanga Sharanagati. Anukulya Sankalpa, accepting those things which are favorable to Krishna consciousness. Pratikulya Varjanam, that which is not favorable, rejecting that. Rakshashiti Vishwasaha, that is having complete faith that Krishna will protect me. Gopatritve Varnam, accepting Krishna as the sole maintainer. There is no other maintainer, it's only Krishna who is my maintainer. 4th, Atmanikshepa, self-surrender. So I depend on Krishna for my advancement of bhakti. I depend on Krishna for everything that I need in my life. I don't depend on anyone else. Karpanya, I stay humble, understanding my fallen position. This is Shadanga Sharanagati. Shadanga Sharanagati hoye bejahar tahara prarthana shune Sri Nanda Kumar. The ones who are completely surrendered to Krishna. What do I mean by complete surrender to Krishna? Execution of these 6 angas of Sharanagati. Then Krishna will hear my prayer. Nanda Kumar will hear my prayers. If one does not culture these attitudes while chanting, what attitudes? These 6 things what I just mentioned. One will simply accumulate material in life. Those things which always help increase devotion should be accepted in one's life with relish. It's not that I accept things which are favorable to bhakti with some grudge or with some sadness. No, I don't want to do, but then it is told, therefore I'll do. No, it's a relish. Accepting such things with relish. Those things which impede devotion should be rejected in disgust. This is also very important. These 2 words are very important. We have discussed many times Shadanga Sharanagati. But here specifically 2 words are added. Accepting things favorable to Krishna consciousness with relish. And rejecting those things which are not favorable to Krishna consciousness with disgust. Chi, nahi chahiye. Not that मुझे चाहिए लेकिन छोड़ने के लिए बोला जा रहा है. मैं नहीं छोड़ना चाहता लेकिन क्या करूं? Such things will not work. With disgust, I don't want. इतना गंदा है, I don't want. That's the mood in which the person should give up. One should believe that other than Krishna, there is no one whom to depend, and that Krishna alone is one's maintainer. Now, this is something which is little easy for full-time devotees to execute, because then we are not dependent on some boss, material boss, that I have to please him, and then once he's pleased, then he'll get my appraisal done, increase my salary, this and that. So I'll go and please him. So at least for full-time devotees, this will be easy. Krishna is my only maintainer. If he is pleased with me, he'll take care of me. If he wants to kill me, let him kill me. No issue. Rakhe Krishna mare ke, mare Krishna rakhe. If Krishna wants to protect, let him protect. If Krishna wants to kill me, let him kill, because that killing is also protection for me. So that's the mode of a devotee. That's the expected mode. One should think that one is very low and unqualified with no possessions. Then only I'll be able to approach the Lord with humility. Oh Lord, I don't have anything. Why devotees say I don't have anything? Because they don't have the treasure of Krishna Prema. So safely they can say I don't have anything. Because if you don't have treasure of Krishna Prema, then what do you have? You might start counting that I have this, I have that. But then all of that is temporary, it will be taken away. Then what's the point of saying I have it? Therefore devotees say I don't have anything. I depend on you, O Lord, completely for the treasure of Krishna Prem, only you can award. Your devotees can award. I cannot get it by myself. I am a Kangal. I am a beggar. In this mood, a devotee approaches with humility. As an eternal servant of Krishna, one will be willing to do anything that Krishna desires. So this is the mood that is expected. Whatever Krishna desires, I will do that. This is called a self-surrender. To believe that one is the doer, one is the giver, one is the protector, that one owns his body, house, wife, offspring, to think oneself to be a Brahmana or a Shudra, husband or wife, king or citizen, all this is a problem. All this is a problem because this will not allow the person to surrender unto Krishna. This is that buddhi of I and mine. This is the buddhi. Therefore, it is said this should be rejected completely. Now, see, as soon as when we are doing some activity and we have these feelings of I am the doer, I am the giver, no, I gave him, I protected, and so on and so forth. So, unfortunately, what happens is we forget the Supreme Lord being the doer, being the maintainer, being the protector. And when we forget the Lord's position, then where is the question of we surrendering unto Him? Not possible. Therefore, here very strongly Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying this should be rejected. Instead of what one should do, centering one's thoughts on Krishna, one should think of Krishna as the controller and the doer, and that Krishna's desire is the main thing. One will do as Krishna desires, not as one independently wants to do. We are discussing about how to avoid 10th offense. And in that, this point is mentioned, that not act independently. How many times this point is mentioned in Bhagavatam also, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in various writings of our acharyas? Because this is very difficult to do. To be dependent on one's superiors, spiritual authorities, the Lord Himself, very difficult. Because that independent mentality, we are here to be independent of Krishna. And now when we come to the realm of Krishna consciousness, we are expected to be dependent on Krishna so that we advance in bhakti. But that's very difficult, not that easy. But with time, when we align our desires with that of Guru and Krishna, then there is some hope. So aligning our desires is very, very important. You who like it or you don't like, you have to align your desires with Guru and Krishna. Guru has some desire, Krishna has some desires. I will execute that. What about your desires? I'll keep it away for some time. I'll keep it away. So that takes some good understanding and good confidence and a good practice of Krishna consciousness. By Krishna's wish, I will stay in this world, and by Krishna's wish, I will cross over it. So even forcing Krishna or forcing that somehow or the other have to get out of this material world, like the impersonalists do, that is also a problem. Somehow or the other nahi hone wala hai. It's only by the mercy of Krishna this is going to happen. So this thought is very important. By mercy of the Lord, I'll stay in this material world. By His mercy only, I'll cross over this material world. So I'm dependent on the Lord. That's what it means. I'm dependent on the Lord. I'm not dependent on my strength. It's not that I'll do some yoga asanas and some yogic practices and I'll break the cycle of birth and death and I'll just go out of this material world. That's all independent mentality. If there is pain, if there is rejoicing, still I am Krishna's servant. Now this is also very important, because if I'm materially attached, say something is given to me, I'll rejoice and I'll be very happy and forget Krishna. And if I'm materially attached and that particular thing is taken away, then I'll curse Krishna. In either of the case, I'm not dependent on Krishna. In either of the case, I'll forget Krishna. So material attachment is a very deadly thing. By His will, He will give mercy to the jivas. My material enjoyment and renunciation are all dependent on Krishna. When this is the attitude present, that's called Atma Nivedan or self-surrender. So pretty deep. This entire thing what we discussed till now is the aspect of self-surrender, Atma Nikshepa. When these 6 types of Sharanagati, full surrender, are not present in an individual, he possesses the intelligence of I and mine. So if someone has material attachment, it means he is not surrendered. We might have come to a brahmacharya ashram. We might have externally renounced certain aspects of life. But then when we have this I and mine, buddhi, then still we are not surrendered. That's what it means. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Such a person is considered a low rascal because he believes that he is the doer, that the world is his, that he is the creator of his destiny and the enjoyer of fruits of his activities, that he is his own protector and maintainer, that these are his wife, brothers, sons, and daughters, and that by his own endeavor he can achieve all perfection and glory. Such people are proud of power of their own knowledge. Not considering the Lord's control, they think that by their own brain they can increase and extend the arts and science. So this is another heavy points, other few points which are pretty heavy. So wherever we feel that I am the creator, I am the enjoyer, immediately all these points will come into picture. Immediately that goes on to say that I am not surrendered on to Krishna. If these people hear the glories of the name, they do not believe them. Or if they do chant Krishna's name, if it is only out of social custom. See, these 2 points are not just for materialists. This for devotees, practicing sadhakas also, practicing devotees also. So, sometimes it might happen that there are glories mentioned in Shastra, and say some Bhagavatam speaker is glorifying the holy name, and he's saying that just by chanting one holy name, you can attain so and so things. And there is a 16-rounder sitting in the class, and he's thinking, ये तो ऐसे बोलते रहते. It doesn't work. So one is 10th offense, and second is 5th, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. So 5th offense. So basically, when the person is sitting in the class and he is not having faith, this is what will happen. He is chanting 16 rounds. I'm talking about 16 round devotees. He's chanting 16 rounds, but then he does not have faith on the glories of the holy name. This is point 1. Second is, he's doing it just out of some, here it is said as custom. Social custom, and for initiated devotees, devotional custom. Yes. Oh, I'm initiated, so I have to chant 16 rounds. I don't have option. Such a person, here it is said, being pretenders and cheaters, they may chant the name in Hela Nama Bhasa. Means they're chanting, but they're chanting without attention. Somehow, kaise to finish kar do. That's the mood. Somehow finish it off. So that's called as Hela Nama Bhasa. It means with disregard or without attention when someone is chanting. So that person is called as pretender or cheater. He will never get prema. This offense is due to being bound tightly by Maya, and deliverance is very difficult. So the 10th offense is caused because of the material attachment. And this is specifically given as being bound tightly by Maya, and deliverance is very difficult. Then what is the solution? If I really want to advance in bhakti, then what is the solution? Very nicely, that is also mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. However, one can see that there are some people who, taking up the name and reaching the level of Shuddha Bhakti, have completely given up material attachment and humbly worship Krishna's lotus feet and sing his name. One should seek out this type of person, take his association and serve him with desire to give up material attachment. See, first and foremost is we have to have desire. Before that, we need to understand I have material attachment. So first is understanding that I have material attachment. Second is desire, that I want to give up material attachment. So these two are the basic thing that the person should have for advancing in bhakti. If I am not understanding only that I have material attachment and I am thinking that I am already a liberated soul, then it's a problem. It's almost like a deceased person thinking that he's all healthy. So he understands that I have got disease. Second, he desires that I want to get rid of the disease. These are two things that the person should do first. And then he should approach a doctor. After these two realizations, if he is not approaching a doctor, then what's the point? He should approach a doctor. And he should be a doctor. He shouldn't be he shouldn't be another patient. He should be a doctor. He should be free from the disease of attachment. He should approach a doctor. Now, when I was reading this section, I was thinking that how will we find such a person? We can always associate with such people by reading about them, by hearing about them. That can be the beginning. When we hear about Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye, then we realize what do you mean by detachment. When you hear about Raghunath Das Goswami, his 3 levels of renunciation, Oh, then we realize, oh, this is what it means. And when we hear about the expectation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhalana khaibe ara bhalana paribe, Gramya varthana shunibe ara gramya varthana koibe. So when we understand, oh, this is the level of detachment that's expected, then naturally we'll also get that desire. And that hearing the glories of such great personalities, we will also be able to imbibe such great detachment. So how do we associate with these great personalities? By hearing about them, by reading about them. Very, very important. We can do that. And by their mercy, gradually one will become fixed in the name, and I and mine will go away as one transcends attachment to Maya. Giving up the false mentality, one will culture full surrender, which is the constitutional position of the jiva and the very nature of bhakti. By this one can get prema. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not talking anything less than prema. He's just talking about how to get prema. So after doing this, then when one is fixed in the name, he takes the shelter of the holy name, gives up I and mine mentality, then he can fully surrender. Otherwise, it's very difficult, he's saying. And he summarizes in last two paragraphs. One who gives up the 10 offenses and performs devotional service correctly is the most fortunate in the three worlds, is full of all good qualities, and is qualified for getting Krishna's mercy. So multiple points here. When we say that only devotees have all good qualities, we have heard this many times. Non-devotees don't have any good qualities. Who is that devotee? Whom are we talking about, this devotee? Who? One who has given up committing 10 offenses and who is performing bhakti offenselessly. He is the most fortunate one in all the three worlds, and he is full of good qualities. And he is the one who is qualified to receive Krishna's mercy. Now this is also very important to note. Because if I am aspiring for prema, if I am aspiring to attain that higher realm of Krishna consciousness, then I have to receive Krishna's mercy. Without that, how it will happen? Always when we are talking about chanting or rendering devotional service offenselessly, we should always understand what I'm going to get if I do it. That is very important. What will I get if I attain that stage of bhakti, that is stage of bhava or prema or whatever? First and foremost thing that will happen is we'll be able to directly associate with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Participate in his eternal pastimes. Even when the person is there in this material body, he'll be able to participate in the eternal pastimes of the Lord. So we have these different stages. Jagran, Jagrat Avastha, Nidra Avastha, Turya Avastha. So Turya is the spiritual state. So Jagrat Avastha, the Nidra Avastha and Shushupti, that is deep sleep. So these three are still on the material platform. Jagrat Avastha, material. It's on the material platform. Swapna Avastha, Nidra Avastha, is again on the material platform. Deep sleep, that is also on the material platform. But Turya is a state where the person enters the spiritual realm. Now just imagine, that will be so wonderful. When I was reading about we have to associate with someone who is free from material attachment to develop that state of being materially detached. One point that I was thinking is, we have very less people like that whom we can associate with. And we are expected to become one like that so that we can help others to come to a higher stage of bhakti. So we have a great responsibility. Specifically, all those who have taken up to the renounced order of life, we have a great responsibility because many common people, they look up to us. They look up to us saying, okay, if these people have taken to renounced order of life, it means they'll be completely detached. It means they'll be this. It means they'll be that. And sometimes they think that, this person has already attained prema. Because we sit on Vyasasana and speak, so they already attained prema. But they don't know that we still have a lot of prema for the material world. We don't have prema for Krishna. So look at the expectation of people. And as a service, we should take it up as a service. And we should try to come to this platform of being materially detached. And one should aspire for that. That is Krishna Prema. As I always keep telling in my classes, that if we have Krishna Prema, then we can distribute. Then we can do actual preaching. As of now, we are not preaching. As of now, we are just doing Janma Sādhaka Kari. We are trying to engage ourselves. That's it. But actual preaching we'll be able to do when we'll be able to award Krishna Prem to someone. And that we can do only when we have it. Therefore, here it is said that such a person who is doing bhakti offenselessly, he will receive Krishna's mercy. And once received Krishna's mercy, he becomes qualified to distribute that mercy. While chanting the holy name very soon, by Krishna's mercy, that person will come to the level of bhava and prema. So this person who is chanting offenselessly will come to the stage of bhava and prema. The Lord has stated himself that whoever takes the name without offenses will attain prema. Which Lord? Whenever Bhaktivinoda Thakur says Lord, he talks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Niraprada naam laye paye prema dhan. That's what is translating here. And whoever takes the name without giving up the offenses will never attain pure bhakti in spite of his practices. Which shloka is this? Bahu janma kare yadi shravana kirtan. Even after many, many lifetimes of doing Shravan Kirtan, when the person is not able to attain prema, why? Because he has not given up offenses. The practice of jnana gives liberation. The fruitive activities gives material enjoyment, but pure Krishna Bhakti and prema are available only by correct execution of sadhana bhakti. As liberation and material enjoyment are both unsatisfying, and as bhakti is the only solution, the real form of liberation and the glory of the soul, the jiva must obtain bhakti. By carefully performing sadhana bhakti without any offenses, the creeper of bhakti will quickly yield the fruit of prema. And what is this carefully? To do sadhana carefully means to do it without the 10 offenses. That's what it means. And then he continues. Therefore, whoever is desirous of obtaining bhakti will take the name being attentive to avoid each of the 10 offenses, and in his heart fervently begging at the feet of the holy name to give mercy to destroy the offenses. See, one point that all of us have to remember is, we cannot destroy the offenses by ourselves. This has to be clear. This is a proper funda that has to be understood. Offenses are destroyed by Lord himself, by Lord's mercy. This will happen. So therefore here, the solution that is given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur is that if you are really desirous to attain Shuddha Bhakti, then what am I supposed to do? Attentively try to avoid the 10 offenses. Second, I have to fervently beg the holy name that please help me. So when I do these two things, attentively avoid the offenses and fervently beg the holy name, that is Naam Prabhu, Harinam Prabhu, that please help me to get rid of these offenses. So by the mercy of the holy name, which is not different from Krishna, these offenses will be completely destroyed. It's a very important point for all of us as sadhakas. One can never be released from offenses against the holy name of prayaschitta or pious activity, but only by again taking shelter of the holy name continuously, chanting day and night, feeling repentant. The offenses will go and the fruit of name will come. One will get Shuddha Naam, then Bhava Naam, then Prema Naam. Oh, what's that? One will get Shuddha Naam, then Bhava Naam, then Prema Naam. So looks like there is a lot to attain. अभी तो नाम अपराध में हम लोग अटके हुए हैं. Continuous chanting is something that is recommended by Bhaktivinoda Thakur again and again. He says chant day and night. How one should chant? Feeling repentant. Why one should repent? Why one should repent while chanting? I have still not developed prema. What sort of person I am? I have still not developed prema. What sort of Sādhaka I am? People are paying obeisances to me. People are giving me so much of respect. They are thinking that I have got prema. But what sort of person I am? That I don't have prema. Am I really practicing bhakti? Looks like I'm not practicing bhakti. Oh Lord, please help me. Please help me. With that mood, a person has to chant the holy names. Please help me. So chanting day and night, feeling repentant, the offenses will go and the fruit of the name will come. Now someone might say, Prabhu ji thoda kuch simple bataiye, aur Bhaktivinoda Thakur ends the chapter with, finally to keep the offenses from entering the heart, pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who is absorbed in the nectar of the holy name. So praying to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most easiest way. We have to pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. We have to pray to him that please help me. Please help me to get rid of these offenses. And please help me to keep these offenses away from my heart. Please help me. Because we might be endeavoring to get rid of the offenses. To a great extent, we might be successful also. But what is a guarantee that it will not enter our heart again? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will help us to guard our heart. He will help us not to allow these offenses to enter our heart. So these are the different solutions which are given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which we all can try to implement. Because if we are practicing bhakti and if there is no result, then it's a problem. We cannot say that I am going slow and steady. How much ever slow and steady you go, result will be seen. If you are doing offenseless bhakti, if you are doing proper bhakti, result will be seen. Some taste will develop. Some good level of detachment will come. Naturally, this will happen. Therefore, if I am practicing bhakti, then such results should be seen. Specifically, jnana, vairagya, and brahma darshanam, self-realization. Knowledge, detachment, and self-realization. Bhakti, parishanubhava, virakti. These all different aspects should be seen as the result of practicing sadhana bhakti. If this is not happening, then it is called as shramaiva hi kevalam, useless waste of time. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.